Hey everybody, what's happening? It's Cameron with the Atlas Drink Shop back with another video, and it was a long weekend. We just wrapped up with Louisiana's Strongest Man, filmed a lot of stuff from the competitors. All in all, it was a fantastic show. We had just under 40 competitors here within our walls. We did 5 events. The events were, in order, a Viking press, a lever ladder deadlift, a Husafell, a sticks and stones Husafell, natural stone carry, a truck pull, and a stone series. We're going to go over each one of those events. We're going to go over how the athletes of Atlas did, and we're going to talk about what's coming up for Rougarou. Stay tuned. But before we do that, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out a lot. Let's get to it. First up, we have Elena with the women's novice. The women's novice weight was set to 100 pounds. Not going to lie, Elena did a lot better than I expected her to do this day. She only got 2 reps at comp weight in training. And if I remember right, she knocked out 8 in the actual show. She did a fantastic job. In fact, all of our women did. Next up, we have Jessica. She was able to squeeze out a couple of reps in training. I do not think I was able to film her entire set here, but I did get a couple of the reps. There were so many Atlas people competing this day that it was just impossible for me to be everywhere all at once. Like, we had multiple lanes going, multiple weight classes, so I did the best I can. So, if you're an Atlas member and you're watching this and you don't see one of your lifts, I am truly sorry. I did my best. Jessica has already started gearing up for the Rougarou. Next up, we have Andrew. We just saw Brandon walk off the stage. I wasn't able to catch his, but he did very, very well. And so did Andrew. Andrew wasn't really quite sure about how this event was going to go, but he did very well. Next, we have Seth. So for the men's lightweight novice, the weight was set to 180, and Seth absolutely killed this event. In fact, all of our novice guys did, which tells me I set the weight too low. I'll have to set it a little bit higher for him next time. I think he gets one more out of this, maybe. I'm not really sure. And he's able to squeeze it out. Nope, I don't think, nah, that one didn't count. So the rules were, with the overhead, once your knees locked when you did your initial dip and drive, then you could not rebend them. Here's Dylan. Dylan did fantastic. He's a great presser. He just started Strongman a few weeks ago, well, a couple months ago now, and I think he's going to do very well. He came in with a Shaw Strength t-shirt on, so that should tell you everything you need to know about Dylan. He showed up gung-ho and determined to do what he wanted to do. And if he sticks with it, I think he's going to do very well. As you can see with him repping out 200 pounds like it's nothing. So our original plan for the Viking press is we had an attachment that was going to be attached to our Conan's wheel. We quickly decided that was a bad idea. So instead, I had these fabricated, and it worked out amazing. Next up, we have Brandon, one of our super heavies. This weight was 290. Brandon is an amazing presser. He's only 19 years old, and he was able to keep up with the likes of Colt. Couldn't be prouder of how Brandon's been doing since he started. I don't know why he chews on his necklace, though. Doesn't make sense to me. Nico on the side being the ultimate hype man. Let's see. Don't remember if he gets this one or not. Nope. Doesn't happen. Next up, we have Colt. Colt was probably the most veteran of all of the athletes in the super heavyweights. In fact, I know he was the most veteran of all the athletes in the super heavyweights. And he is a force to try to keep up with. His training had been going very well. He did absolutely fantastic at the show. Strategic break. Goes at it again. And is able to squeeze out one more rep. And strongman, you got to play the long game sometimes. Next up, we have the lever ladder deadlift. So the way this event was set up is the athlete started at the fulcrum point, moved to the weight pin closest to the weight, did 1 rep, moved to the middle, did 1 rep, and then they had an AMRAP with the time remaining. So as you move further away from the load, the weight got heavier and heavier. So I don't remember the exact weights on any of these, so I'm going to give you a ballpark estimate. It was around 100, 150, 175, and to I think 210 was the weight that Katie is currently repping out. So it gets very heavy, very fast, considering that all we had on the actual implement was a 25 per side. So we added 50 pounds to a 33-pound implement, and that's how heavy the weight got. Isn't physics cool, ladies and gentlemen? So this was another one where I think I might have set the weight a little too light for the women. But we also had some women that probably should have competed open. The women did absolutely incredible. So one of the things we had to do, you see those blue lines on the floor? We realized from watching people's training videos that a lot of people were trying to game the system and do the widest sumo stance they could possibly do. So we instituted a rule where they had to keep their feet within the confines of the weight pin. So we popped some chalk line down, and I thought that it was just going to stay there forever. I thought it was going to take forever to clean up, but you can't even see where we popped the lines now. So I'm real glad about that. This was Rebecca's very first comp. And when I tell you she absolutely killed it, she absolutely killed it. She is resting this week, but hopefully this is not the last time we see her compete in a strongman competition. Wait until you see her stone. Her stone run was the most impressive stone run of the day, in my opinion. Next up, we have Elena. She also absolutely killed this one. And again, I'll say I did not expect her to do as well as she did. So Elena is also the part owner of a local circus gym. So that's where most of her training goes to, is devoted to circus arts. So she wasn't able to get in here and train these implements as much as everyone else. But she's just strong as hell. So she was able to do very well despite not having the most optimal training plan. So you see here in a few seconds, she starts really bouncing these reps. She had never tried that in training, but when she realized she had a chance to win, she took advantage of it and did fantastic. So I wasn't able to get Jessica on that one. It turns out the video I filmed with the slow-mo filter on. So, yeah, that wasn't really going to work. Sorry, Jessica. So now we are at the men's lightweight novice. At this pin, it's somewhere around 400. So it goes like 200 to 300 to somewhere in the mid to low fours. Like I said, I don't remember exactly what it is, but Seth is repping it out. I have been doing Seth's programming now for about 4 months, and he's made some pretty big strides in that period of time. Looking forward to seeing how he does in his next show. Dude needed to take a break. And he fights and he gets more reps. All right, so this athlete's name is CJ. He also competed in men's lightweight novice. He owns a gym out in the Mandeville, Covington area, something like that. And he also did very well. It was basically a shootout between him and one of our members named Brandon all day long. Like, they were literally neck and neck. They had to do a tiebreaker at the end of the show. which I don't think anybody got on film. I'm kind of mad about that. Next year, both him and Brandon will be competing open. Start building out some a lightweight open class. So we had men's lightweight and heavyweight, which is, for as far as the novice goes, which is sub 220 and above 220, at least in USS. And as far as the open guys, we had some middleweights and we had some super heavyweights. We didn't have anything in between. So that's one of the reasons we're putting on so many comps, is so that we can build out those weight classes. Here's that guy Brandon I was talking about. Fumbles a little bit with the carabiner. So not gonna lie, Brandon is kind of a little bit of a genetic freak. He, in all the best ways. He showed up on his first day and was able to pick up the 310-pound Husafell stone while weighing just around 180 pounds. And it should go without saying what a feat that is. So very, very impressed with how Brandon did for his first comp, especially since he was going through a little bit of an injury at the time. For a while, we weren't even sure if Brandon was going to be able to compete, but we're glad he was able to. And his shoulder felt great the whole time. All right, so now we have the middleweight open athletes. So this is John. He's a member of Atlas. Had he not kind of been fooling with the carabiners for as long, I can almost guarantee you he would have gotten more reps out of this. But John is crazy strong. Broke 600 on deadlift just a couple of months ago. Getting more and more 600-pound deadlifters every day. So this isn't an Atlas member, but he has been to a few different Rougarous at this point. So I wanted to throw some non-Atlas members in here too. This is Chris Miller. He is from the Lake Charles area. He's been competing at our shows since he discovered Strongman. He bought a bunch of equipment, and I think he should move to Baton Rouge. That's what I think. I think he just needs to be an Atlas member at this point. This was his first open competition, and he did fantastic in it. I really think he's going to go far. Next up, we have Andrew Perkins. Andrew was another one, did very well at this event. So the weight at the third pin for the middleweight open athletes was somewhere in the high fives, low sixes. I don't remember exactly where it sat. But I don't think I made it heavy enough for these guys. I'll have to fix that for next time. Just a few more reps. And he's satisfied. Next, we have our heavyweights. I popped in the middle of Brandon's round. So Brandon didn't actually think he was going to get this third pin. But a few days prior, he managed to find a way. And you see Dylan behind him, another Atlas member. 2-for-1 special. And he called it. So He was kind of mad at the end of the show because looking back on it, he's pretty sure he could have beaten Colt. Colt actually won this event. You'll see how he does. Colt was one of our only athletes this day that didn't train or compete with straps for this event, which makes sense because Colt has a crazy strong deadlift. But you'll see grip starts to become an issue. So there's 4. So Colt wound up with 4 reps. Brandon is pretty sure he could have gotten 6 had he really pushed himself. We will never know. But those kind of decisions get better with experience, and Brandon is new to this. So now we have our Husafel stones. So we got these stones from Sticks and Stones, a company out of Houston, got big during the pandemic. You may have seen us talk about them in other videos. We got a 210, a 310, and a 409 from him. Obviously, I could not use the 210 for our women's novice, so I went to a local shop that sold landscaping stones, and I found this 150-pounder that was shaped the same. So this is what the women used. Now, if you've been watching us on Instagram, you'll know each one of these women had struggles with this stone when they first started. But they did absolutely fantastic. It wasn't a month ago before Jessica couldn't even pick this stone up. And now she's literally running laps with it. Very, very proud of how far she has come. And she got a deadlift PR just today. She deadlifted 235 for the first time today. So I caught Rebecca's in the middle of her first lap.
Good job, Rebecca.
She signed up about 2 weeks prior to the show. So she didn't really have a whole lot of time to get some training in. But she did fantastic either way.
Which one? We got a few of them.
So you'll see here she has to do a reset.
You got this, Rebecca.
And she does something pretty unconventional. We think she's about to lose it.
Get under it.
She sits, she gathers herself.
Under it. Good, good.
She's not really able to lock it out. And she manages to catch a good finger hold and carry the stone a significant distance like this. She didn't win this event, but she put up more of a fight than any of the other athletes. And in my opinion, that is very, very, very commendable. And I believe here is where she actually winds up losing it. A little bit of a fight. Fire my cameraman. Oh, wait, that's me. It's hard to cheer for the athlete in the moment and keep a steady camera at the same time. All right, and she lets it go. Next up, we have Katie. So Katie's been dealing with some shoulder issues. She wound up pushing a little too hard on the very first event. I was having some weird things with my camera during this event. It was like I couldn't switch back between the first lens and the second lens whenever I wanted to, like I normally do.
Don't drop it.
But yeah, had Katie come in with a healthy shoulder, I really think she would have won this event.
Pull it in.
But that's part of the sport.
Good. Keep going. Don't stop.
Comes back around. Think she gets one more turn out of it.
Good.
Gets a couple more feet.
Every step counts.
And then we have Elena.
Elena. End of the lap. Good.
She did very well in this event as well. She has an advantage on this one because her legs are really long, so she doesn't have to take as many steps as some of the other athletes do.
Good.
She takes it back.
You're doing great, Elena.
See Joey Grappe in the background, walking with his 310 stone. Looking back on it, I should have extended the seating a little bit further out. Give these athletes a little bit more room to maneuver. But everything turned out okay.
Good. Every step counts.
And I think she makes it to the end. And goes down with the stone. Next we have our men's lightweight novice with the 210 stone. This is the lightest of the sticks and stone Husafel replicas we have. And you got JB in the background running like a banshee. Botsy barely able to keep up. I was really worried we were going to have a collision here. But it all worked out.
Hell yeah. Good reset.
So the reason why we have a volunteer with a crash pad following along with them is because there is the turf, and then there is about a 1/4 inch, maybe an 1/8 inch to a 1/4 inch of foam underneath the turf. That is not enough to protect those stones. And if one of these stones would have fallen and broken it, it honestly would have been a nightmare scenario. We would have had to have readjusted very quickly. We had some metal Husafel stones, but we really did not want to use that. So we used the crash pads. Next up, we have CJ. Now, we knew CJ was going to carry this one very far because he's able to pick up the 310 and carry it. If you pick up one that weighs 100 pounds heavier, then the 210's nothing. CJ is a very gifted athlete. Look forward to seeing him in other competitions. Hopefully he sticks with it. While CJ isn't an Atlas member, he has been through a few different Strongman Saturdays. That's why I'm catching so many of him.
Pull it into the back.
Getting the stone reset for Andrew in the background. I think he's got a few more steps in him. And he calls it. The turn's a lot harder. Like people don't discount how difficult the turn can be. Andrew Perkins with the 310 stone. That was stone our middleweight men carried. The middleweight men and the men's master carried the 310 stone. The only guys that carried the 409, the big one, were the super heavies.
Come on, Andrew. Every step counts.
I came so close to going to Tractor Supply and buying a whole bunch of stall mats just for this event, using them, and then returning them the next day. But that would have been ridiculous. And there's Brandon Chenevert with the 210 stone. He was the one that went back and forth with CJ all day.
Yeah, quick feet, Nico. Quick feet.
And his very first day he came to Atlas, he picked up the 310 stone. I really thought he was about to fall over backwards with the stone when I saw that in person. But he picked up the 310 stone, said, this pinches the skin weird, and then set it down. Like it was nothing. So I really hope he sticks with this. He's going to go far.
Every step counts.
As long as he doesn't get too beat up. And I believe his next comp that he's signing up for is going to be Alabama's Strongest Man. All right, this is Drew Lane. Drew has signed up for a few of our comps over the years. And it was awesome watching him and Andrew go back and forth because they are both powerhouses as middleweights. So it was great seeing them finally compete against each other. They had never had the opportunity to. So this event, there was no time limit. It was literally max distance. And the way it was scored, if you couldn't actually pick up the stone and walk with it, if you picked it up and you got air under it, that was 1 point. If you managed to get it to your lap, that was 2 points. If you could get it to your chest and walk with it, that was 3 points. So we just saw Brandon. He was able to get it to his lap, so he got 2 points for that event. And something weird happened with my camera on Bronson's. So Bronson, while he's not a member of Atlas, he drops in to train anytime he is in town. He was unstoppable on Saturday. He managed to take the 409-pounder a full 40 feet, although I was not able to capture it, the whole thing. And here is Colt with his stone run. And he's just not able to hold on to it. Next, we have the men's heavyweight novice. And here's Brandon. Who needs to see? You don't need eyes. Just walk straight and have somebody tell you when to turn. That's all you need. So the men's heavyweight novice also picked up the 210 stone. I really wish I had something in between 210 and 310. And, again, something in between 310 and 410, but here we are. It makes sense. There's only so many size delineations you can get to with these molds and keep them the exact same shape and size. Just a few more steps. This really is, because it's max distance with no time limit, literally every single step, every single inch you take can count big. All right, next up we have the truck pull. So we're going to be going back and forth between truck pull and the stone series a lot on this one, just because we had two lanes running simultaneously. Here's Katie pulling an F250. She had never pulled something this heavy before. The heaviest truck she had ever pulled was Colt what does he have? Colt has a GMC Sierra 1500, and she's pulled that with Mr. Preston riding the brakes. Because we had two lanes going simultaneously and we had some stones going on while we had the truck pull going on, I was only able to catch Katie and Elena's truck pull. I don't think I got anybody else's from the women's novice. And Elena literally ran out of her shoes for this event.
You better go tell them. Here, I'll make an announcement.
So the original plan, we were going to get some vehicles from the local Louisiana National Guard. We were going to get a Humvee for the women's novice, and we were going to get an LMTV, which is basically a big truck for all of our men. The week prior, I get an email from the National Guard saying they will not be able to support the event.
Dig those feet.
So I spent 15 years in that organization just for them to let me down one last time. But it's okay because we had a member with a big rig, and we were able to get him to loan us his tractor for this event. Here's Brandon pulling the semi. And this is Big Brandon doing the stone run. And this event turned out awesome. I'm really happy with how we set this up. So I originally wanted to do 2 lanes. We weren't able to make that happen. But I think doing it this way really turned out well. And you see Nico just staying out of the way of this one. And then we have Dylan. This is his first time pulling a truck this heavy as well. This is the event he felt he had the least amount of experience with. But look at him go. And I keep telling people, pulling a truck is a lot less technique and it's a lot more just hard work and driving your feet. If you can do that, you can make it happen. Now we have the women novice doing their stones.
End of the lap. All right, Jessica, you got this. Big pull.
And Jessica was never able to get this one off the ground in training, so I didn't think it was going to happen here. She almost got it to the lap, though, so that was fantastic. Which, that's the name of the game. Just show up in PR. Next up, we have Rebecca. And here she is going for that final stone. I don't think she was ever able to get this stone in training either. Granted, she signed up 2 weeks before the show, so makes sense. And she gives it a good effort. Next up, we have Katie. Then honorable mention to her brother. You see him leaning against the stone platform in the left side of the screen. He was our scorekeeper this day. He mans the computer during the event. And I honestly don't know what we would do without him during these shows. Because, he's probably the only one in the gym that really has the brain to sit and look at numbers that long. Like the rest of us, we get burned out and we have to do it in shifts. And finally, we have Elena. So because I was up there actually doing the awards and I wasn't able to film it because I'm too dumb to set up my camera, Elena won her weight class. She wound up first place in women's novice, and because there was only one female weight class, she won best female lifter overall that day. Let's see. I'm trying to run through everybody. The lightweight novice, we had some men in the lightweight novice. Brandon, calling him Lil Brandon. Brandon Chenevert, he came in second. Seth came in third, and then CJ came in first place. For heavyweight novice, Dylan, he came in fourth. He'll definitely podium next time he does this. He just needs a little bit more experience under his belt, but he'll do great. As far as the men's middleweight, we had Andrew Perkins. He won first place in the men's middleweight, and he also won best male lifter overall. Here's Brandon Chenevert on his stone run. He did absolutely fantastic. Then CJ on his. And then as far as the heavyweight goes, Brandon Avila, he came in third. Colt came in second. And then Bronson wound up coming in first that day. So everyone at Atlas did absolutely incredible. Here's Dylan's stone run. And this was the guy that actually took first in the heavyweight novice. His name is Paris. He was brought to us from Alabama. This guy, though, he found us on Google the day before the event and said, hey, can I sign up? So we decided to let him. He'd never touched any of this before. He signed up for heavyweight novice. Back to the truck. We have JB pulling a semi for the first time. I can't really tell who this is right off the bat. I think this is Colt, actually. So we actually wound up having a harness that explodes. We had to use our backup harness. The backup harness was not nearly as comfortable as the harness that we use for everybody else. And here is Bronson pulling his truck. He did absolutely fantastic. So that's it for the video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. It really does help us out a lot. But without any further ado, I told you I was going to talk about the Rougarou, so we're going to do that. These are the events for the 4th Annual Rougarou Classic. It's going to be at Kenner at an expo center. In Kenner at an expo center on November 18th. The events are as follows. We're going to do a circus dumbbell for max reps in 60 seconds. We're going to do a max deadlift event. It's going to be rising bar. We're going to use deadlift bars for that. We're going to use our Texas deadlift bar and our Kabuki deadlift bar. After that, we're going to do a medley. It's going to be 50 feet. We're going to be using sandbags, Husafel stones, the metal ones, not the natural ones we just used, and kegs. After that, we're going to do Fingal fingers. And then finally, we are going to do a keg to shoulder. I can't wait for this event. If you want to sign up for it, it's going to be on Iron Podium. If not, today, within the next couple of days. So definitely keep a lookout for that. Look for it on the event page on Facebook, and we hope to see you there. So until then, keep that Titan.